Hello and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Sky. I hope you all had a lovely week, enjoying whatever you're doing, wherever you are, and just making the most out of whatever you are, wherever you are in your life, and just enjoying. My week has been lovely. It's been quite busy, but also very relaxing actually. Like it's been a relaxing, busy week, if that makes sense. I've been doing lots of things that make me feel refueled and recharged. So it's been lovely. And I feel great. So yeah, I haven't really got a plan for this podcast, but it's gonna be great. I've got a lot to say. So let's get into it. I want to talk about making the most out of life. Full stop. Making the most out of moments, appreciating where we are, living in the moment, and not looking constantly for that next thing. Just really being in our bodies and where we are and in the moment, because that's something that I've been talking about with a lot of people recently, just like their opinions on it, my opinion on it, just because it's been interesting me. So I thought we should talk about it. Just being in the moment, because I feel like I've had, as I said, I had a fairly busy week, and the week started off. I went to my friends, which was lovely. It was a quite a last minute thing, and it was interesting because it's like, sometimes last minute things stress you out a bit because you don't have time to plan them or whatever. And it's like I had to rearrange a couple things, but it wasn't like, it was all easy. And it was actually so lovely. I didn't have time to think about it. It wasn't like I was looking forward to it because I didn't really have time to look forward to it. It all just happened in a week. And I was doing, I had a really busy weekend before, and then I left on the Monday. And it was so lovely, and it was so peaceful, and it was so relaxing. And normally I was dreading because on the Friday I was busy, on the Saturday I was busy, and on the Sunday I was busy, and then the Monday I was leaving. But I had Monday morning just to like recharge. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be probably a bit burnt out, but I wasn't. And it wasn't like, because normally I would be it would all be on my mind. Everything would be there to be like, okay, this is my schedule, this is my routine, I need to do this, and then I need to do that, and then this needs to be done for that time, and then okay, but I've got to do that before that. Everything would be in my mind, and it's so busy and it's so blocking, and I had no room to think. And I just didn't, because it all just flowed really nicely and it was lovely. And it's kind of just opened my eyes of like, maybe I do need to plan everything to the detail, maybe. And to anyone who needs to hear that, maybe you don't either. Um, and it's just been so nice. And I have had a busy week, but everything just flowed. And even like things of like going up to London and like train times, I've just kind of been like checking it like an hour before I need to go and be like, oh, okay, it's working, fab. And just kind of letting life work out for me, which has been lovely. And I want to talk about it, and I want to just be like, I have just been appreciating every single moment I'm in, wherever I am, whatever I'm feeling, I'm appreciating it. And it's like I was on the train to London. I had a whole family, three kids, all like young babies crying. My headphones weren't really working, so only one of them was, so I could still hear all the babies crying. And I honestly had a lush time. It was only half an hour train, so it wasn't too bad. But I had such a luxurious time. I cannot lie. I felt amazing. I was smiling. I was like laughing. I was listening to the podcast. It's so funny, and it's just like I would have gotten so uptight about it before and be like, oh, so annoying. Like I probably would have changed carriage to be fair, but I just didn't. And I was living life, and it felt so nice just to accept where I was. And I think so much relief comes with acceptance, and so much relief and lightness just comes with accepting where you are and just being like, yeah, sure, amazing. And I know that obviously isn't the worst situation you could be in whatsoever, but it's just like little things that I know would have used to annoy me. And this is very personal to myself, that might not annoy someone else or might really annoy someone else more than me, whatever. It's just like wherever you are, like whatever you're doing, I've just been appreciating it, and it's been lovely. And I think it's just been like very nice to know, because normally I'd be like, oh, if I've got a day off, like a complete day off, I've got nothing planned, I'm like, okay, I need to fill it up. And I'm like, why? Like, just take a step back and be like, okay, just let the day goes, and you're going to appreciate where you are in the moment, because that's how you make memories. And it'd normally be a panic of like, oh, that's a day wasted, I don't have anything planned, that's a day wasted. It's like, no, a day of relaxation, chill, not feeling like I have to do anything, or maybe it's a day of catching up on everything that I feel like I've had to do. But it's like your memories are made by your feelings. You know, when you think of a memory, think of your favorite memory. It makes you feel something. It makes you feel excited. It makes you feel joyful. It makes you feel whatever. Or maybe a memory that you really hate, and it's like that makes you feel sad or angry or whatever. That's what memories are. They're feelings. So to gain those moments that we want to remember forever, we need to get that feeling. So whenever I do something, I'm always trying to go in with it with the mindset of I want to feel like this when I finish it. Um, or like, so if I want to enjoy the moment, okay, I want to feel happy. I want to feel joyful. I want to feel everything, and I want to remember that, or whatever. And I think that's been really lovely because it doesn't matter what I'm doing, it doesn't matter where I am. It's just I know how I want to feel. Not saying you can always control it, but be like, okay, well, this is how I'm feeling, and that's fine. And I think when you completely accept this is where you are, it's easy to not change it, but accept it, acknowledge it, understand why, and be like, okay, I'm validating that, I'm accepting it, but I'm also choosing to feel happy because I can, and that's my emotions, and I can control my emotions. And it's obvious it's more difficult when we're with other people who don't want to change how they're feeling, which is absolutely fine. That's up to them because obviously you're not responsible for how other people are feeling, and nor can you control it. But it's it's interesting because I've all these things. So I'll like be going up to London by myself and then I meet someone, or like I'll be going somewhere and then meeting a group of people or whatever. So it's like I've had time just by myself before and after just to chill. And it's been nice because I've just been kind of like acknowledging where I am. Also like understanding what I want to do and what my like boundaries are for that day, which is very important that your own boundaries because you're going to be feeling a bit different every day. And I think if we just try and merge into other people, morph into them, we're not being our authentic selves and we're not going to have a lovely time because we're not going to remember who we are or what we're doing or why we're even there because we're losing ourselves in that situation. And I think that's something that I've also been trying to do recently. So I guess this podcast is just kind of me talking about my experiences because obviously I can only speak from my experiences. But it's just been, it's been really lovely just to be like, okay, I'm living in the moment. And I think if we can take that into just our day-to-day lives, and I think I was speaking to my dad about this, and I was like, I think everyone kind of has the perception, not everyone actually, that's such a lie. People I've talked about have the perception that like maybe life's purpose is to be happy. And I'm like, obviously that's such a vague question, what's life's purpose? But people are like, oh, like you need to be happy, to have joyful moments, whatever. I just don't think it is. That's my opinion. And obviously that could be wrong. Well, like that could be wrong to someone else, but that's right to me. And I just kind of feel like life's experience is to experience. Like life's purpose is to experience, full stop. To experience emotions, things, places, people, like life. And I was journaling the other day on the train, and I've been on the train a lot the past couple of weeks. I was journaling on the train, and I was like, life's purpose is life. And that sounds so, I don't know, that sounds so obvious, but it's like, I've never viewed it like that. I'm like, oh, life's purpose is to be happy, or life's purpose is to do whatever I'm doing in that moment. And it's like, no, life's purpose is life. Like, life is life. Wait, let me make that make sense. Life is literally so insanely incredible. Like, we quite literally have the world, like our world, in our hands. Ourselves, not anyone else's. We have our own lives in our hand and we get to choose, which is insane. And I've just been appreciating that and I've just been making the most of that. And that might sound really dramatic, but I love being dramatic. And I also just think it's really lit up my soul because I'm always, again, that's a feeling. Like I love feeling lit up, I guess, and I love feeling that spark in me that's like, oh yes. Like, so I actually filmed a podcast before this. I didn't really have a plan about it, and I was just like going with the flow, and it was good. Like I was editing it, but I was like, nothing's being lit up here, and I had an idea, and I was like, oh, I could have said that. I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna keep going. I was like, no, no, no. This podcast is for me to feel lit up and for me to express myself and what I'm feeling. And yes, that was what I was feeling 20 minutes ago, but now I'm feeling this, so I'm gonna say that. And I feel like I sound so much more passionate right now than I did. And even if I was to like compare the clips, like I'm like so excited to like speak. I'm like, yeah, life, And yes, I was just journaling. And I was like, the purpose of life is life. The purpose of life is to experience. Um, and it was really lovely. And I was like, so whatever you're doing, realistically, there's a purpose towards that. When you're feeling really awful, there is a purpose towards that. You can't have happiness without sadness, and you can't have sadness without happiness. And I think we need to experience almost everything. Well, no, we need to experience everything that comes our way to get to where we want to be. And it's like, it's interesting because obviously when we're in that moment, we're like, oh, this is the end. This is, this is awful. I don't, there's it's not going to get better. But it's like, no, it really is. Like this, you're feeling this to get to where you want to be. Just because that's simply life. Like it might take some people longer to get out of it, it might take people less time. But the reason you're feeling this is because you're going to feel something better eventually. And there's sometimes been moments in my life where I'm feeling really happy and I'm like, oh, I don't want this to end, you know what I mean? And I think we all have moments like that. And I'm like, why? Like, why am I so scared of this ending? And I almost make it end by being so like, oh, I can't let go of it. And I will end. And I'm like, oh, that's gutting. But it's like, why am I so scared of feeling other emotions? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And they are all valid. And I did a whole episode on this, but it's just like, I'm thinking about it a lot at the moment. Um, and it's just, yeah, like, and I was watching Ginny and Georgia on Netflix. I don't even really like the show. It makes me feel, yeah, I don't know. But I was watching it because I had nothing to watch on Netflix. I was bored and I put it on and it was actually lovely. I had a very good cry to it. I don't know why. And I was like, oh, it's making me feel a lot because it was really reminding me of like where I used to be. Because like one of the main characters is like in a really bad place in her life. And I just remember feeling like that, like the way they're describing it. Um, and I was just like, well, I'm not there anymore. And it was making me just reflect a lot. And it was just interesting. And I was like, yeah, but I guess I really couldn't have gotten where I am today without that. And if you look at anyone's story, they couldn't have gotten where they are today without that. Like any people who have, gone far in life, whatever you count as that. But people who've had a successful life, again, whatever that means to you, they've always like they've got their story. And I think I just, as I said, I want to be dramatic with my life. So I will take that into the small moments. And when I stub my toe, I'm like, oh, this is life, gorgeous, love it. Um, or if I like burn a piece of toast, I'll be like, oh, well, this is part of my life story. So actually, this is amazing. And I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I'm sure there's one person out there who's like, yeah, make the most of it. And I don't know if anyone knows Florence Given. I absolutely adore her. She's an author. And so she wrote the book Woman Don't Know You Pretty, which is a very big book. Um, anyway, and I love it. And her next book is called Woman Living Deliciously. Her like saying is like living deliciously, like I'm living deliciously right now. It's not about having things, it's not about having it all. It's literally about whatever you are in the moment. Like think about wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. It's all in your head, living deliciously. Think of 3 ways which you can make it more delicious. Maybe you're sat in your bed. Could you make it a bit neater? Or could you make it messier so it like feels like, oh, I'm so cozy? Could you put a light on? Like, could you dim the light? Could you open your blinds? Could you get yourself a cup of water? Or if you can't do any of those things, just change your mindset about it. And I'm a stan for living deliciously. It's a way of life. And I think there's no reason not to. It's so easy. Anyone can do it. You don't need anything to do it. It just, requires some creativity, I guess. Um, and if you do feel like you're capable of doing it, it just opens some, it gives you that spark in life that I am always striving for. And I think it's such when I'm not feeling that spark, I know I can change something. But I don't need to change anything physically, just mentally, I mean. And I think, yeah, just also kind of going back to living in the moment, it's like I feel like people will be like, oh, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't wait for summer. I can't wait for winter. I can't wait for spring. Oh, I can't wait for like half term. I can't, well, depending what you're doing in your life. Or, oh, I can't wait for the weekend. I can't wait for 5 p.m. or whenever you finish work. And I obviously completely get it. Like, I completely get it. But I've just been like looking from an outsider's perspective and just journaling about it because, as I said, it's just been lighting up something in me, and I just want to think about it. So I am. And it's just interesting that like the majority of people are constantly looking for the present. Not sorry, they're constantly looking for the future, not the present. And realistically, you can't control the future. It's not in your hands. But the present is. The past isn't in your hands. It was, but that was once the present, if that makes sense. So, yeah, it's been interesting just looking at it and being like, realistically, all I can, no matter how much planning I do, no matter how much I think about it, I cannot control the future. But I can control right now. Not saying you need to control it, but I can appreciate where I am. Like, I can make little changes to make the present maybe that bit better. And those changes don't have to be anything big. It can be a mindset thing, it can be a physical thing, it can be a place where you change, it can be people, it can be food, it can be whatever. It can be an outfit, change your outfit. Um, yeah, and it's interesting because, like, I remember saying, I think it was like February, I was just a bit fed up and I was like, of winter, because normally I'm a winter girly through and through. Like, I normally love the winter so much. Well, I love autumn and then I love winter and then I say summer and then spring's like my least favorite. But I was just a bit done with winter because nothing, it didn't feel like it was giving me anything. I was like, oh, I can't wait for summer, and it's summer now. Like, we, to be fair, anyone in England right now, we don't really have much of a summer. It's really hot today though, and it's been lovely. Um, but I was like, there's no difference between now and when I was saying, "Oh, I can't wait for summer." Um, and little things like I've had these some really fun like activities booked. So I've been like, "Oh, I can't wait for that." And like it happened. It's like obviously I loved it. Like it was so much fun. It's like, why was I not wasting? Why was I so caught up in this moment and not the other moments in my life? Because realistically, some of the most plain mundane moments can be the most magical. I was in the car with my dad and sister, and I just had an absolute hysterical fit of me laughing for a reason. Um, I was laughing for about 5 minutes. That moment tops a lot of moments I've had this summer because it was just so funny. And I just had some water and I had to spit it all out over myself, which was not so fun, but it was funny and it was amazing. And it was just like so many little mundane moments can be so much more meaningful than the supposedly big ones, and just kind of appreciating where we are and not necessarily waiting for the future to happen when we are in the present, and that moment will once become the present. So we don't need to, and what will happen. And I think it's scary to view it like that when you do want to control everything and when you do want the outcome to be one way. But I think if one thing I've learned in my life is like, you can't, like, the outcome you get is the outcome you need. And that's something I've been shown many, many times again. But it's something every time it happens, and then a month will go by and be like, oh, okay, that's what happened. Or a day will go by. And it's something that now I stand by. Like, if it doesn't go how I wanted it to, it's because it went how it needed it to. And that's really important to realize that. And everything will happen for you. Not like, yeah. I just been looking at it like that. And I think, as I said, life is a mindset. Like, it's all a mindset and you don't have to view it one way. And some people are going to listen to this and won't agree with it whatsoever. But it's like, it's making it work for you. And I guess it's kind of just living deliciously. Like, I could choose to look at something that quote unquote didn't go my way. And I'm like, oh, it's gutting. Like, it didn't go oh, I didn't like that. Like, that's went awful. Or I could just like, something better is happening for me. Which one sounds more fun to you? Cause yeah. But obviously it's up to you. Like, it's complete, and maybe the like choosing the bad one in my eyes, maybe that is better for you, and that's completely fine. But for me, it's like, okay, something better's coming. That fits in my head nicer, and that makes me light up inside. So yeah. And I just want to quickly touch on this because it's been on my mind. Please stay authentically yourselves. Don't change for anyone. And when you do things that align with you, when you act, no, when you are authentically yourself, when you do things that align with you, when you put yourself in spaces where you feel yourself and you feel you can be authentically you, when you do actions that where when you do actions your authentic self does, you will find people who are that, who do that, who light you up inside and who just connect with you. The more you try and come away from that and come away from your authentic self, you're not going to find the people who light you up. You're not going to find the people who you want to be with forever. You're not going to find your dream friendship group or whatever, because you're not putting yourself in an authentic space. You're putting yourself into a space of where you feel you should be. And being authentic is just stepping away from that and allowing yourself to be whatever in that moment in time, and just accepting that this is where you are, this is who you are, and your people will come, and your things will come, your passions will come, your when you feel like you will come, and everything is happening for you, and everything will be okay. Because I think it's just sometimes like a reminder, like if you look back in your life, it did all work out, and if it hasn't yet, it will, and if it doesn't feel like it will, I hope every day is a bit easier. And if you've gone through something before, you'll get through it again, because you're very strong. And this is all part of your story. This is all part of your path. Um, and you are the director of your life. So if you want something to change, go change it. Go live your life how you want. Be yourself. Find the people who light you up. And yeah, I hope this week you'll have found something or have experienced something that's lit you up inside, that made your soul smile. Um, what's my thing this week? I went to London yesterday and I had some lovely sushi, and there was about 12 pieces of avocado sushi and it was only £3.50. That lit my soul up, and I ate it with some really lovely people. Um, that lit my soul up, because normally sushi is like so expensive, and it was £3.50. It was from Itsu. That was gorgeous. So that lit my soul up. Um, yeah. Message your friends what's lit your soul up. Ask your friends what's lit their soul up this week, next week, in a year's time. I think it's important to focus on the moments that light us up, because we'll start looking for them more. Look for the glimmers, not just the triggers. Yeah. Okay, I think that's the end of the episode. I hope you all enjoyed. I felt a lot of passion in that, so I hope that came across well. Whatever you're doing, I hope you all have a lovely day, evening, morning, afternoon. Enjoy what you're doing, enjoy your life, make the most of it. That doesn't mean do all you can, that just means appreciate where you are and whatever you're doing. Yeah. Hope you have a lovely week. I'm sending so, so, so much love to you all. Lots of love, Sky.